Q Billings webinar on how to set up client pools that then in turn can be used to allocate costs that span multiple clients. So let's go ahead and hop into the application and take a look. We can go ahead and go into setup pools, and receiving pools. And what we're essentially going to do is look at how we can set up a pool that if we have a single line item expense and we want to allocate that expense to multiple different entities that consume that product or service. So if we wanted to go in, for example, in the Hyatt Hotel example, and create a pool, we may want to create a pool, let's say, based on all of the hotels in Utah. So we can go into the Americas, we can drill down in the hierarchy down to Utah, and within Utah, we know we have a handful of hotels that can be used. So let's go ahead and put in a start date. We'll say we want this pool to be effective as of January 1st, 2015, and we're going to equally allocate expenses for each of the hotels within Utah. So we'll go ahead and do an equal allocation, and we'll add these hotels to the pool. So as we can see, as we keep adding the pools, our allocation percentages change. So at 50%, 33 1/3, 25%, and 20%. So what we're looking at is whenever we wanted to allocate a cost, let's say for Utah, each of the hotels in Utah would be equally allocated a percentage of 20%. So we can go ahead and save this, and as of January 1st, 2015, we have a pool for all of our Utah hotels. Now we can also look at making changes. So let's go ahead and look at that same type of thing for our Asia Pacific pool. So any items we allocate towards Asia Pacific, we look at all of the different pools or all the different client hotels that within Asia Pacific. And so what we see is that each client hotel is being allocated a percentage of 1.923%. So whenever we want to assign costs to Asia Pacific by hotel, we can do this automatically. We can also do this via Excel. So let's go ahead and export the Asia Pacific data into Excel. So we'll hit export, we download the export file, and within Excel we have the exact same thing we were looking at previously. So we know we have Asia Pacific, we have all the hotels in Asia Pacific. So we have a total of 52 different hotels in Asia Pacific. We know that the allocation percentage is 1.932%. and it has a start date of January 1st, 2015. So let's go ahead and assume maybe we want this to be a little bit more complex. And let's say each hotel, we want to do an allocation by Asia Pacific by the number of employees in a hotel. So let's go ahead and put in some dummy numbers and say we have, in this first hotel, we have 5 employees. As we move down to some of the other ones, we have 8 employees, and so on and so forth. And so we can go into our percent allocation and write a basic formula. So we can say it equals that the number of employees in that hotel divided by the sum of all the employees and all of the hotels across Asia Pacific. And so within this file, we know that this allocation changed to 1.37%, and we can do this across all the different files. So let's go ahead and download it. When we look at the total amount, we know that the sum equals 100%, and so this file is saved. And we may want to make this effective as of February 1st, 2015. So within Excel, we can make all the basic changes that we want and have it updated. Let's go ahead and save this. As Hyatt receiving pool, and now we have this Excel file that's saved that we can then upload into our application. So once we go into our transactions, we can feed this data via Excel. We can go choose our file. When we choose our file, we can look at, we can go grab our Hyatt file. And we can go ahead and submit that file into our application. So when we do that, we know the status is new. It's waiting for all the transactions to process. Once the transactions process, an email will be sent to me letting me know that it's successfully processed into the application. Let's go ahead and refresh it. It's currently queued, and it processed. So when we go back and look at our receiving pools, we can go back in again and look at Asia Pacific. If we look at Asia Pacific, as of February 1st, 2015, we have all the new allocation rules. And so each pool each hotel within Asia Pacific will be assigned 1.377% on that first example for that hotel for any costs that are allocated across all the hotels across all of Asia Pacific. When we look to do this, we can do it a few different ways. So we've seen how to manually enter in the data. We've been able to build pools separately via Excel. We can go in and create a transaction, which is a third way of creating client pools. And so if we wanted to go in and create a transaction, the basic type to create a pool would be the same basic elements. So we would say that in the Grand Hyatt Melbourne Hotel, we wanted to allocate, let's say, 10% for this line item for this single processor server. And when we hit insert, it's going to say, okay, we added a transaction, it's 10%, and we can't submit any transactions until it equals 100%. So we could pick let's say the Perth, and allocate 75% to Perth, insert this, and we're now at 85%. And finally, maybe we have one other one that we may want to put into Park Hyatt Melbourne, and maybe that's the last 15% we insert. And this single transaction would then have 3 line items allocated at 10, 75, and 15%, and we could upload this into the application. So this would be a separate way in which to allocate costs that span multiple client hierarchies. And then we have full system automation. And full system automation, what we would basically do is follow the same process that we've just illustrated. So first we would pull all the active hotels in, let's say, Asia Pacific. Then from there, we might pull employee data from the HR system to get the number of employees by hotel. And then third, we'd follow the same process to update on a predetermined time frame. So we might update this on a quarterly basis, an annual basis, a semi-annual basis, whatever timeline that you would prefer. This can be updated and maintained accordingly. So when we look at allocating cost across multiple client locations, what we're essentially doing is aligning to your business. So it might be by the number of employees, it could be by revenue, space, the country, the location, the cost center. Anything that you use to allocate your cost can be set up in client pools within Q Billing. We hope this has been informative, and we look forward to speaking with you soon. Thank you.